Hi there. It's May the 18th and time for Proverbs 18. I want to do this. The first verse is a little different in this one. Okay. And I can imagine why, but I don't know why. Okay. Every version that I've studied, the more modern versions, right? Even the New King James says something very similar. One who isolates oneself seeks his own desire. He defies all sound judgment. Okay. And you can even look over here in the New International Version. An unfriendly man pursues selfish ends. He defies all sound judgment. Being a recluse and isolating yourself is a bad thing. But in the 1599 Geneva Bible, right, it says, "For the desire thereof he will separate himself to seek it and occupy himself in all wisdom." And they even put a footnote on here that says, "He that loveth wisdom will separate himself from all impediments and give himself wholly to seek it." Okay. Now, that's a very good thing, okay? Everyone else says he defies all sound judgment. Which one is correct? I have to go back to the Hebrew, and I don't speak Hebrew. But I do know most of these other versions were written, with the exception of the King James, after they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, okay? And the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were found in the mid-1900s. They agreed with everything said. I mean, it was amazing, an amazing find. But I also know that if you've seen the videos in the skits where they will take a line of people, right, and line them up, and they will whisper something in the ear of the first person, right? That person will turn around and whisper it to the next person and to the next person, and then go on to the end. And by the time you get to the end, fifth or sixth person, okay, what did you hear? And it is totally different than what the first person heard. So, and I know many of the modern versions, okay, way back when, they took the Hebrew and Greek and they translated it into Aramaic, okay? And Aramaic put one of the New Testament together. And a lot of them go from the Aramaic, but you're like going from that third or fourth person. So you should go back to the original Hebrew, and this 1599 version may not be correct. I don't know, but it says something much more positive than the rest of the versions that were written later. Right? So you decide. Okay, verse 2. A fool finds no delight in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. Lots of those around, huh? When wickedness comes, so does contempt. With dishonor comes disgrace. Right? And notice I titled this whole section, "A Fool's Big Mouth." Right? The words of one mouth are deep waters, a fountain of wisdom, a flowing brook. Right? And I think there's a note over here for this one, deep waters, which can never be drawn empty, but bring ever profit. Right? Right. Your words never end, right? Your words never end. Deep waters. Okay? So you should say kind things, good things, edifying things, right? Deep waters. 5. Showing partiality to the wicked is not good, nor is depriving the innocent of justice. That seems to go on a lot, right? You know why? Satan runs the world, okay? Satan runs the world. When he took Jesus up onto the top of the mountain to look over all the cities of the world, he said, "These are all mine, and I'll give them to you." 6. The lips of a fool enter into an argument, and his mouth invites a beating. Some people do that, right? The fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. It's the stuff about fools, right? 8 is always an important one. The words of a gossip are tasty morsels going down into one's innermost beings. Okay? I don't like rumor mills. I can't stand gossips, okay? A gossip is somebody that tells somebody else's business that has nothing to do with them just to make themselves feel more important, right? And it tears apart friends. It tears apart churches. The gossip is a billions dollar industry every year, all right? Most of social media is nothing more than gossip, okay? And people telling other people about gossip, spreading rumors and spreading stuff, right? You need to just keep scrolling, okay? Don't get involved in that stuff, okay? It has nothing to do with you. Trying to make you hate somebody that you don't even know and perhaps did nothing wrong. And God hates gossip, just so you know, okay? 9, one who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. Great waster, it says over here. And interesting that it puts us in the middle of the chapter, huh? The name of Adonai is a strong tower. The righteous one runs into it and is set safely upon. Run to the name of the Lord. Good stuff. 11, a rich person's wealth is a strong city or like a high wall in his imagination. Okay? In his imagination. You think if you're rich, nobody can touch you. But if you're rich, you have more enemies, more people after you, right? You're poor, they tend to leave you alone because you got nothing they want. 12, before ruin, a person's heart is proud, but humility comes before honor, right? Somebody's prideful and arrogant and conceited, right? They are quickly, always knocked off of that pedestal they're standing on, right? Humility comes before honor. Humbleness, okay? God loves humble, does not like pride. You're humble and somebody else builds you up, that's honor. It's important. 13, one who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. All right. We should add this to the verses in 15, 16, and 17 that talk about quarreling. Okay. It says in James 1:5, be quick to listen, slow to speak. Right? Listen completely before forming an answer in your head. Right? It is foolishness and is to your shame. Cut people off. You see people cut people off. Okay? One spirit sustains him through illness, but who can bear a crushed spirit? Right? We talked about this yesterday. If you crush someone's spirit, that ruins them, okay? Many people who are homeless are there because of a crushed spirit, okay? The spirit is the light. It's what keeps you together, right? And it's hard to fix a crushed spirit. It can be done, but it's not easy. 15, a discerning heart gains knowledge. The ear of the wise seeks knowledge. You got that? That means reading the Bible, okay? If you want to seek knowledge, start with the Bible. Oldest book in existence, right? Okay. Enough of a fool's big mouth. Now they're talking of overcoming opposition and offenses. 16, a man's gifts make room for him and leads him before great men, right? You know, if somebody's got a present, they always get moved to the front, right? Okay, 17, the first to state his case seems just until another comes and cross-examines him, right? Now in America, the accusers, the prosecution always goes first, and the defense always goes last, right? And when the prosecution speaks, I'm going to prove that this person, that Joe here murdered his wife, and did a horrible thing and buried her in the backyard, and she's gone and we can't find her, and right? Ooh, and you automatically think, and then somebody else comes along all right, the defense and says, I'm going to prove this is wrong because Joe was on a business trip in California when this happened. We have receipts, we have videos, right? We have him in the hotel, we have him speaking. There's a speaking engagement when this happened, so he couldn't have done it. And suddenly, right, another comes and tells the cross-examines or tells the truth. Suddenly it goes away, right? What does this mean? Always get both sides of a story. If you're going to listen to a story, you need to get both sides of it, right? Because one person is telling their side, and it includes their feelings, okay? Made me feel bad. So, both sides, it's important. 18, casting lots ends quarrels and decides between mighty opponents, right? They used to cast lots back in the day, okay, into their laps, and whoever got the short one. And they took that as a sign from God, okay? Something similar happens now, okay? And whether they think God does it or somebody does it, you get two big, giant football teams, okay? Big, burly, mighty opponents, it says on here. They will take a coin. And the referee will flip a coin to decide who goes first. And they will watch it land. And wherever it lands, these big, mighty opponents will take that as a sign. That's the way it is. No small coin. Ends quarrels. 19, an offended brother is more formidable than a fortified city. And quarrels are like the bars of a fortress. Right? If you offend your brother, right, through gossip or something, it's harder to win him back than to attack a fortified city. The note over here. Which for the strength thereof will not bow nor yield. You won't get him back. Okay? That's why it says gossip separates close friends. You offended a person, right? 20, from the fruit of his mouth a man's stomach is filled. With the harvest of his lips he is satisfied. Your stomach is filled with what you say, okay? If you say evil, horrible, nasty things, right? Mean things, belittling things, your stomach will be filled with that. Your heart will be filled with the crap that you say. If you say only kind things, edifying things, uplifting things, right? The harvest of his lips, he is satisfied. Okay? Important stuff. 21, death and life are in the control of the tongue. Those who indulge in it will eat its fruit. Right? They that love it. By the using of the tongue, well or evil, cometh the fruit thereof, either good or bad. Death and life are in control of the tongue. Okay? Another reason to say only kind things. 22, whoever finds a wife finds good and receives favor from Adonai. You notice it says wife there, okay? It doesn't say girlfriend. It doesn't say lover. It doesn't find whoever finds a pretty girl, right? It says whoever finds a wife, okay? Now, a wife is somebody who stands by their husband, thick or thin. Doesn't matter how tall he is. Doesn't matter what kind of car he drives. Doesn't matter how he dresses. Does he work? Does he protect you? Does he make you feel secure? Does he take care of things? Right? That person is looking for a wife. He's not looking for a girlfriend. So, if you want to find a good man, be wife material, okay? Wife material. That means helping, right? Filling in his weak spots, helping him out, building him up. Important stuff. 23, the poor request favor, but the rich answer harshly. What's this say up here? The rich person's wealth is a strong city, or like a high wall in his imagination, right? Or request favor, but the rich answer harshly. And God says taking care of the poor, the widows, the orphans is the main focus in life. Okay. And 24, a man with many friends may be harmed by them, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. That is, oftentimes such are found which are more ready to do pleasure than he that is more bound by duty, right? That's the rich people. A man with many friends, right? Likes to party. There are some people who just want to party all the time. As soon as the going gets tough, right? They leave, and there's usually only one person, right? That's there no matter what. Everybody has one friend, hopefully, that will be there no matter what. So there you go. That's Proverbs 18. We can go through the highlights real quick here. A fool's big mouth, right? And we talked about verse 1. We won't talk about it again. Personally, I like the Geneva version, okay? Right? One who is looking for wisdom will separate himself, okay? And it says, he that loveth wisdom will separate himself from all impediments and give himself wholly to seek it, right? Sometimes it's important to get by yourself in a quiet spot and study your Bible and talk to the Lord, okay? I mean, Jesus said that, okay? So one who isolates himself, seeks his own desire, and defies all sound judgment, Are they the same thing? It's the same verse, And most other newer versions agree with this one here. Defies all sound judgment, recluse. If you constantly lock yourself up and never come out, right, you're like agoraphobic, that's not a good thing, okay? But there are times when it's necessary. We need to expand on that, right? Verse 5, showing partiality to the wicked is not good, nor is depriving the innocent of justice, right? You have to go into this. I mean, look at certain people were locked up in Washington for like almost 3 years without being charged for a crime, which is totally unconstitutional. While some wicked people were released, right, for doing horrible things. It's not good. Hey, 8, the words of a gossip are tasty morsels going down into one's innermost being, right? Gossip is a drug. And if you get hooked on it, you get hooked on drama and reality television, getting into other people's business, right? It's a drug. Tasty morsels. A note of house of the belly. They are soon believed and enter most deeply. Trouble is when you believe, right? When it gets down into there, it means you believe the gossip. Because, okay, I tell you, more often than not, the gossip is wrong. Okay? Okay, 10 is highlighted. The name of Adonai is a strong tower. The righteous one runs into it and is safe, and is set safely up high. Right? You can always run to the Lord, right? He is a strong tower. It's a good saying. You can put that on your wall. Right? Okay, 11. A rich person's wealth is a strong city, or like a high wall in his imagination. I love that. In his imagination, right? Where you put yourself, the harder your fall will be, right? Okay. 12 and 13, I don't know if these go together, but they're the same color. Before ruin, a person's heart is proud, but humility comes before honor. Okay. Pride is something God hates, okay? He detests pride, right? It's all about me, and I did it, and I'm so smart, and I'm better than you, right? God doesn't like that. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes a prideful person, right? Humility, humbleness comes before honor. Okay. It's always honor if you're very humble and somebody else builds you up, right? 13, one who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. Right? Even on the news, these guys are supposed to be professionals, and they will cut somebody off because they're going against the narrative that the station wants to put out there. So, and they'll cut them off, and some people won't be cut off. Okay? But answer before listening, right? It says in James, be quick to listen, slow to speak, right? Listen first to the whole thing. Get both sides of the story, okay? Okay, and it goes down here to 17. The first to state his case seems right until another comes and cross-examines him, right? Get both sides of the story. Always get both sides of the story. Because the first person telling it is telling it to their own advantage, right? And sometimes pride has something to do with it. Yeah. Both sides. 21. Death and life are in the control of the tongue. Those who indulge in it will eat its fruit, right? Good or bad. You want to be sick, unhealthy, right? Bad fruit. Say bad things, evil things, right? Death and life. Okay? Say kind things. And we highlighted one word in 22, wife. Whoever finds a wife finds good and receives favor from Adonai. He that is joined with a virtuous woman in marriage is blessed of the Lord. There you go. That's it. Proverbs 19. We will read that tomorrow. 19:14. Right? Jump over there. 19:14. Prudent wife is from Adonai. Oh. A wife. Right? Men are ultimately looking for good wives. A helper. Okay? One that completes him. One that builds him up. And if you want to find a good man, you have to be wife material. Right? So, there you go. That's Proverbs 18. A little later. I think we're starting John 6 today in our through the New Testament in a year. Yep, John 6. Starting John 6. So, there you go. Have a good Sunday, right? Do some praising, okay? All right, have a good meal, be with family. Get some study time in. And give us a like if you think about it. But tomorrow we'll do it again. See you then.